Good afternoon to one and all present here. We are gathered here for today's session that is going to be about power of belief. And to address that, we have our guest speaker, Dr. Satvinder Singh Bedi, who will guide all of us with his expertise and knowledge. Dr. Satvinder Singh Bedi has 27 years of industry experience and 9 years in management teaching. He has graduation in BCom, DBM, MMM, and also has a PhD in healthcare marketing. He is currently an associate professor in marketing, heading MDP department at Guru Nanak Institute of Management Studies. He teaches strategic management, marketing strategy, sales and distribution management, brand management services, marketing and business to business marketing, and has successfully published 18 research papers. He has worked in office automation, tire and healthcare industry, and also has an experience in training sales teams, setting up franchisees, and negotiating with labor unions. He has worked in the capacity of general manager in the tire and healthcare industry. Talking about his achievements, he was awarded the Best Professor in Marketing Management by Devang Mehta National Awards in December 2016. He was awarded the Best Professor in Marketing Management by ABP News National Education Awards in July 2017. He was also awarded Best Professor in Strategic Management by DNA Innovative Education Leadership Awards in February 2018. But last but not the least, he was awarded the 100 Most Dedicated Professors Award by World HR Congress in June 2018. I would like, sir, to please uh, tell us about power of belief.
Good afternoon, friends. Yeah, yeah. First of all, greetings to BRIMS, and I would like to thank Joshi sir, Director Joshi, for inviting me here. Uh, so my thanks to Joshi sir, Murthy sir, Nandurkar sir here. Having worked for BRIMS earlier, it's a privilege to be back and conduct a guest lecture here. I think so. You're the first year students here. Okay. So the moment I entered the campus, it was like coming home again, and meeting everybody is like family over here. This session of power of belief is not only for you all; it is for us, for everybody. So just a request for 1 hour. What I'll be speaking, then we'll take your question answers afterwards. So that's my first request. The second thing is just be relaxed. I'm not going to ask you anything. So just sit down, and hopefully you'll be taking home something very important, which will help you in your careers and your personal lives also. Okay. Okay, guys. I've been working for Guru Nanak Institute Management Studies, and I conduct these sessions outside also. See, this started many years back because of my own brother. So slowly I started making these modules, which I started in BRIMS also, and found that the response was pretty good in terms of people trying to correlate to the personal problems, and we all having difficulties in our day-to-day lives. As you are all aware that we all are going through this severe problem in terms of COVID. Last 2 years, there's been lockdowns, and then in terms of the war which is there in Ukraine also, so many difficulties and miseries, and humanity is suffering rather. So, in spite of all that, it's the will of a human being to persist and move ahead. So, how do we survive in these difficult times in terms of our professional lives and our personal lives? The core area here is that we try to understand that how to live our lives, which should be more fruitful, more purposeful, where we all looking at for happiness, but it continuously tries to elude us. We're searching for it, but we're not getting happiness. This whole planet, rather, friends, is taken by storm, the way we say, by major forces of globalization and back, the way I told you, even the pandemic now. And the whole planet itself is moving at 19, kilometers per second. So we are moving at a very fast pace. Joshi sir is here. He used to always tell us that you need to change. And we remember what Jack Welch used to say before he begins a meeting: change or perish. So that's the norm. We need to change. And change for what? Change, it's not only success. The main thing is the objective is happiness in terms of a personal goals to be achieved, a professional goals to be achieved. So this change is very important. See here, I always start my lecture with Parivartani Sansar Ka Niyam, Gita Sar. So it is change, it is imminent, which you have to adapt to. But then when we look around, you all are still very young, like we have gone through all this, which you also will have. We see different types of individuals in our lives. We see a person who's happy, another person who's sad. We sometimes see somebody who's joyous, another guy is miserable. Then we come across somebody who's fearless, and then somebody is very scared to go ahead. After analyzing, we realize that these different personalities, why is it so that in similar circumstances also, people behave differently? What is the reason? To cope up with difficulties, or they're not able to cope up with difficulties. There's so many fears that some people have. How can we overcome this? Well, friends, there's something, is a miracle which I'll be disclosing. Probably you are already aware of it, but you're not tried to focus on it. The way they say that you all have a gold mine, we all have a gold mine here. And that gold mine is something, a brain, which we to use it. I've got very few slides, rather. I think so. Yeah, this is the main course slide, which I have all pictures. So the main thrust of the lecture is basically to do with how is your mind operates. If you look carefully over here, you see the subconscious and the conscious mind. Our mind is one, but it is made up of two different hemispheres, very clearly demarcated in the conscious and the subconscious, the objective and the subjective mind, the awakened and the sleeping mind. If you're listening to me carefully, that's your conscious mind. If I'm holding this, that's my conscious mind. When you drive a car, when you're writing your exams, you're consciously putting up an effort. That's your conscious mind. But that's only 10% of what we are using. The other 90%, which has tremendous potential, rather, that's your subconscious mind. You're sitting here, your heart is beating, you're breathing, your digestion is being taken care of. Even when you're sleeping, your subconscious mind does that. Now, how does it work? As I told you, you already must be aware or must have read about it, that the conscious mind is the captain of the ship. He gives the command, but the subconscious mind implements it. He is the servant, the subconscious mind. You can call it as a slave, but a very powerful servant, extremely powerful. In fact, till now, scientists have not been able to unravel and find out the mysteries of the subconscious. They've not been able to find out what is the depth of the subconscious mind. But one thing is a fact, the way like the captain on the deck, he gives the command, the way you must have seen the picture Titanic. So it could be a right command or it could be a wrong command. Full steam ahead. There's an iceberger. Somebody tells the captain. He's very confident. Nothing will happen to a ship. He gives the command, full steam ahead. Deep down, in the boiler room. The people are working fast. The captain's order goes and crashes in the iceberg. So similarly, when you give a command, your conscious mind, that command is a thought process on which you focus. Your subconscious mind will implement it. Your subconscious mind will not see and not ask you a question because you're the master, the conscious mind. It'll just go ahead and implement it. So if I'm telling that we have a golden mind, we have something called as a dynamite also here. You need to handle it very carefully, especially youngsters. Because if you are not consciously taking care of your thought processes, and if you're entertaining the wrong thoughts in terms of hatred, jealousies, fears, selfishness, inferiority complexes. The logic is very simple. When you focus on them, it's an order, it's a command by the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind implements it. So why not we live life gloriously, happily, full of abundance? We can do that. The only trick, the magic is that what are the thoughts that we are thinking? Well, we could equate mind to a garden with very, very fertile soil, and you are the gardener. It's up to you. What type of seeds do you sow? Because whatever you sow, so shall you reap. You cannot get grapes if you sow thorns. So similarly, in terms of thoughts which you choose, you have 60,000 average thoughts from morning till night, flooding your mind throughout with everybody. And we carelessly, we do not know, we keep on thinking. And 90% of the time, land up worrying about something which is going to happen in the future, or fretting about something, or having guilt about what happened in the past. Negative thoughts, tension thoughts, worry thoughts, inferiority complex thoughts. How will we become good entrepreneurs? Because for an entrepreneur, the main quality is the gutsy thing which you need to get ahead. So the golden key is that if you are the gardener, choose your thoughts. What type of thoughts? Happiness thoughts, successful thoughts. You'll get whatever you want. It's like, dad gives you a new Swift car and say, okay, fine, son, you got a Swift car. तो दोस्त को लेके जाता है हाईवे पे. देख यार क्या गाड़ी है, स्ट्रेट चलती है, क्या व्हील अलाइनमेंट और बैलेंसिंग है, स्ट्रेट जाती है. ज्यादा देर स्ट्रेट नहीं जाएगी, खड्डे में जाएगी. स्टीयरिंग छोड़ दोगे तो. Similarly, if you leave that steering of your mind, the mental steering, if you're not careful enough to see which thoughts are there, you land up in the ditch, a ditch of unhappiness, guilt, tension, failures. We don't want that. We want success. You come over here, you invested your time and money. So you want to be something in your life for yourself and your families. You got aspirations and you'll get them. It's nothing to do with your intelligence. It's to do your smart thinking, your awareness, how you're going to get ahead. We have the authority of subconscious mind, Dr. Joseph Murphy, who says that the law of life is the law of belief. Believe. That's why my session, power of belief. Whatever you can conceive and believe, you can achieve. खाली सोचना नहीं है, फील करना है, बिलीव करना, मैं कर सकता हूं. It will be like a seed which will go in that fertile soil and it will manifest. It will manifest in your surroundings, in your environment, in your personality, in your body. That's the trick over here. That's what we need to be aware of, extremely aware of. You can see, for example, if you see You take a piece of metal, say iron, and if it is magnetized, that piece of iron, it can carry 12 times its weight. The same piece of iron, if it is demagnetized, it can't even lift a feather. Same is with us. We have a magnetized personality of mass, full of energy, magnetized. जो भी है देखा जाएगा. He's ready to fight the battle of his life. See people in Ukraine, they're fighting it out. They don't sit down and say, God, what's happened? So it is like your attitude. The magnetized man who says my objective is to win, to be an entrepreneur, or to have a good job for my family, the happiness, in spite of whatever is the surroundings, whatever is the environment on which we do not have control. But another guy who's demagnetized, he says, oh, I can't do this. I'll take another job. I'll wait for another opportunity. I've got stage fright. I will not be able to speak. He's demagnetized. Two men looked out of prison bars. One saw mud, the other saw stars. Same जगह पे है, तरीका अलग अलग है. तो we want to be magnetized. कहते हैं ना, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. That should be your attitude. But going through the whole day, chalta attitude, then we're going to have the same results. I have seen it with my life. And I'm seeing so many people who are successful. But then the wake up call is that first of all, try to understand how are we going to change our thought processes. Now, this is not something which has just come out of thin air. It's a universal principle. It's a universal principle. Now, what's a universal principle? A universal principle, the way we got a science college here, you'll have universal principles of chemistry, of physics, of mathematics. If you heat a piece of metal, it will expand, right? You may heat it in India, you heat it in China, and you heat it in Japan, or you heat it in England, it will expand. It's a universal principle. Water finds its own level. Wherever you put it, universal principle. The ancient Egyptians used that principle to make the pyramids. So that's a universal principle. Similarly, the universal principle that whatever you will conceive and believe you'll achieve, whatever you will think will manifest sooner or later, that's a universal principle. Whatever the conscious mind will entertain the thoughts, that will become a reality. So that's the universal principle which you should be aware of. I've been, as sir knows, I've been in the medical side, I've been a non-medical guy in a hospital. So interacting with a lot of doctors, doctor friends, and going through the ICU because that was part of the duty just to see if everything is okay. So he used to tell me, the intensivist, Dr. Sharma, Bedi sir, if you see not here, throughout the world, maximum beds are filled up of people not of any ailment, which is physical, it's mental ailment. Your thought processes can damage your body also. There has been an experiment done by scientists where a patient with chronic disease, he has chronic disease and he's been given medicine, blank pills, placebo test. They're blank pills. Usko bola, see, this is the best medicine we can give you. But we are very sure you'll heal. We were waiting for this. But when you have this, remember, when you're having that capsule, going to heal you. He listens very attentively, goes and tells his wife. The doctor said this is the best medicine. And whenever he's taking, he hears that words of the doctor coming in his mind, this is the best medicine, it will cure you. There was a gradual but a drastic change in his health. For the better, it improved with blank pills. Another case when a patient was absolutely okay, he had that fear that, oh, I'm okay, I'm looking good or not. The doctor experimented and said, your tests are showing that you may develop some skin ailment. Perfectly okay. She couldn't sleep at night. Developed rashes after a few days. So your gold mine over here can be a dynamite also. How you're using your thoughts, very important. 60,000 thoughts. Which ones are you choosing? So very important. Whether you are in war or in peace, we're talking about war a lot of war nowadays. So whether you are in war or in peace, the difference between good thinking and bad thinking is good thinking will be only taking you ahead for logical planning, constructive thinking, and achieving your results. Bad thinking will lead to confusion, worry, anxiety. Choice is yours. Because if you are going to be in a professional course, it's very important that first you orient yourself. युद्ध में उतरना है तो एम्यूनिशन सही होना चाहिए और एम्यूनिशन है उसको यूज करना आना चाहिए पहला पता तो चले हमारे पास क्या है गोल्ड माइन है भाई हाउ यू गोइंग टू यूज इट देयर वाज दिस वन गाय कॉल्ड जेम्स years back. This is not something, this is something of a true story which I'm telling. An incident. Entrepreneur, very difficult childhood, worked very hard from scratch, and over a period of years built up a mammoth business, became a millionaire. But then bad times come. The bank where he had kept his money that collapsed. The friends which he had given money, they refused to pay. Jaisa destiny hai, came back again on the road. He was shocked. There was depression phase outside in economy. And he had to survive for himself and his family by taking up a sales job, selling blocks which were put behind trucks which were to be shipped. He despised that. He cursed himself. Throughout the days to work and he used to curse himself. He used to hate himself. He used to punish himself. Why did I do that? Why did I keep my money there? Why did I give like that? All the time, not aware that this thing is functioning, that conscious mind is saying, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. Why did I do? The subconscious mind took it as a command and tried to create more hurdles for him. Things became even worse over there. Affected his health, stopped eating. So much of and worry. He landed up with ulcers in, and believe me, because I've worked in hospital, I can tell you. And the doctor, if a gastro specialist in a lecture he had said that if a patient who has ulcers and they bleed the digestive system, we tell them, please relax. Your lifestyles are hectic. Then they will pray to God, a chance or de do, I will never worry again. That's the tyranny of ulcers. This fellow had ulcers. And doctor said, you're not listening. He was put on a liquid and powder diet. There was a pump to remove the fluid from his stomach. Then he deteriorated because he was not aware of what he's thinking. What happened as a result? The doctor announced, you got only 1 month to live. You're going to die. Shocked. Only 1 month to live. When this type of statement comes, things change. And then he took a decision. He always wanted to tour the world by sea. So he called his best friend and told him, his relative, that I would want to take a trip. They said, are you crazy? You're going to die. He told the doctor. Doctor said, you're mad. In 2 days, you'll die. He was adamant. He approached a liner for a world tour. He's saying, jitna bhi paisa hai, achhi tarah jaunga. They said, you'll die on the sea. They'll throw you in the sea. He told the doctor, don't worry, sir. I'm taking my coffin along. He booked his coffin along. But he had a request with the captain. He's saying, if I die on the sea, please keep it in the cold storage. I would want to be buried with my parents. Get it back. He accepted the worst. In spite of everybody laughing and saying, mar jayega, he went. On board, when he saw that everybody was, after when they left land in a day or two, all partying over there, dancing, having nice food. He said, "Marna to hai." Started eating, smoked Havan cigars. अरे champagne भी पियेंगे. देखते देखते 2 दिन 10 दिन 8 दिन he started becoming better. He didn't use his pump. He said, "What the hell is happening?" He became better. Then, as the ship cruised to the Orient, he came to the Asian country. He saw poverty. He told himself, "James, I was crazy to worry. Look at these people in poverty. I'm still much better than them." After 1 month, he came back hale and hearty, and he accepted that job. He worked hard because he was an entrepreneur spirit and came back to become a winner again as a millionaire. So these are the stories where only your thought processes what can change you. Another guy, a young chap, because war is going on. So that example comes to our mind. He was in World War II with his friend. And remember when, if you must have seen on CNN, when the shelling is there, it's so scary. They're also human beings. You see the Russian soldiers crying when they're caught. So when he was on the front, when the heavy artillery was there firing, he saw his friend dying in front of him. And he got hurt himself. That is a time he was shattered. They got him back. He came back to consciousness. They told him, "Your friend has died. Okay, fine. You'll be okay in a few days. You have to go back." "I can't go back," he's saying. He lost. He lost his nerve. He got so scared. "I cannot go back." He became hysterical. So they told him to wait. The doctors in the military told him to wait. Then they said, "Okay, fine. He seems to be a nervous wreck. We'll give him another job," which they gave him a job not to go and fight, but after the battle is over, you have to go and collect the belongings of the dead soldiers of their country, put them in different packets, which have to be sent to their loved ones. That's very important. Now he started, he was, so perplexed. He was so anxious. He lost confidence. He thought he's making mistakes. What if I'm sending somebody's belongings to somebody else? That's called as OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, which develops after too much of worry, anxiety, and when you have inferiority complex. You see people keep on washing their hands. You lock the door, you go back again, lock the door, check it, tala laga hai kya nahi. Suffering. So he was a chronic OCD patient. He stopped eating. So they put him again in the hospital. So there were tents over there. One day he was like literally as a skeleton. So young army doctor came to visit him in the tent. So he saw him. He said, "Can you sit down?" He said, "I'm finding it difficult." "Sit down," he said. "You're okay. I've seen your test reports. Everything is fine with you. Your only problem is here." The doctor told him. He looked around on the table. He saw there was an hourglass. You know what's an hourglass? Hourglass, where you have sand on top, and then after 24 hours, every one small grain of sand which comes down, the time hourglass. So he told him, "Friend, see, look at this hourglass. Our life also is like this hourglass. Every morning when we get up, we got hundreds of tasks. Ye bhi karna hai, wo bhi karna hai. This we have to do. And we are in a hurry and we mess it up and we are anxious. But then if we do not take one task at a time, we'll break this mental hourglass. Not have all this sand going down together. It has to come one grain at a time, one grain at a time. If you want all together, you'll have to damage it. So take life one day at a time, one grain at a time. Take control of your thoughts. Whatever a person's situation is, life is only because of the result of his own thoughts. In fact, if you see, history is a great teacher. History is a great teacher. You all in school, we have this beautiful subject, history, where there are a lot of learnings over there. We have the great, mighty Alexander. At a young age, conquering continents and territories and countries. Just imagine that willpower. Unfortunately, is dying because of malaria, but then his willpower to conquer lands and countries altogether. We had Columbus, who people called crazy in search of new lands. But always his positivity, there is a new land. He persisted, his endeavors, his objectives, finds America. We have John F. Kennedy, when in 1961, when he talks to the people of USA, and he promises them that I set for myself and my people a big audacious goal. He sets the goal, the target. If you see a positive thought, that by the end of the decade, a person from USA will land on the moon, the first person to land on moon. 21st July 1969, Neil Armstrong is the first person who lands on moon. Thought process, positivity. What do these people have? We have the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi. There is a message there. If you could take lakhs of people and convince them for non-violence, and the mighty British Empire couldn't do anything, how could he communicate the leadership qualities with non-violence? दोस्तों, मुश्किल इस दुनिया में कुछ भी नहीं, मुश्किल इस दुनिया में कुछ भी नहीं, फिर भी लोग इरादे तोड़ देते हैं. अगर दिल से चाहत हो कुछ पाने की, तो सितारे भी अपनी जगह छोड़ देते हैं. तो that type, it's again your thought process. You take it up. आपको, you hold that steering wheel. You come into VPM, like if you drive inside, hundreds of vehicles going outside, but at the gate they'll ask, who do you want to go to? The vehicle which they know, or somebody who's come, they'll open the gate for that person. You should be like that watchman, the big watchman at the gate of your mind. This is a very big temple over here. Be that gate man. Your 60,000 thoughts which are coming, let them flow past. You should let the thoughts which are good, which are courageous, which are full of happiness, which are of positive nature, which will not do damage to you, let them in. How do you let them in? You let them in by focusing on them. When you look at some of the person, I'll just go ahead and show you some of the slides. See, the problem is that we worry too much about what other people think. There are certain fears which the demagnetized people have. Fear of death, उससे भी ज़्यादा fear of poverty, and shockingly, मौत से भी डरते नहीं है, और सबसे बड़ा fear है fear of criticism. सब बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग. और मेरे भाई, जो आप जिसके बारे में सोच रहे हो, उनको भी ये रोग है. वो और कोई चीज के बारे में सोच रहे कि वो और कोई उसके बारे में क्या सोचेगा. तो all are sick. We don't want to be sick. क्यों डरे हम, दूसरा क्या सोचता है. So these are things which put brakes on our progress. Most of what we worry never even happens, if you see. But no, ये तो बहुत, this all a big sermon that we should think good thoughts. We should not entertain bad thoughts. It's not easy. मैं लेक्चर लेके दे चले जाऊंगा, बोले बात करके गया, इतना इजी है क्या? It's not easy. It has been seen that a person can walk on white hot coals. We got Anthony Robbins, who's a motivational speaker. His Unlimited Power is his book. I think so we have it in the library also. Where on the first session itself, he takes the participants outside and makes them walk on a stretch of nearly 15 to 20 feet of white hot coals. वो डर जाते, फीस नहीं चाहिए, जाते हम लोग, बाबा नहीं करने, पागल है. You have to walk, you have to qualify. You can't walk. Girls go hysterical. He shows them how to walk because the skin of the sole is thick, so it's a technique. If you walk fast, so the coals don't stick over there, so you can cross it. And then one experiments, then the second person does it, and when somebody does it, say, I've made it, I've done it. You know that thing, oh wow, I've done it. Now see, you can walk on hot coals. You can tame a king cobra, the 18-foot most dangerous poisonous snake. But you cannot control your mind. हटता ही नहीं है वो. The chatter keeps on going. घर में क्या, बाहर क्या, ये क्या, वो क्या, क्या करूंगा, वो क्या बोलेगा, पूरा टाइम पास्ट प्रेजेंट में है ही नहीं, फ्यूचर full time. So what is the technique? Beautiful technique explained by Sir William Osler. My PPTs are only pictures so that you can see his face. He's done a great humanity. Sir William Osler was a medical student in Canada, Montreal Hospital. In the last year, the way when you are anxious placements, he also wanted to know, should I start my own business? Should I go for my own clinic? Should I become an entrepreneur? What will it be? Will I pass my exams? How will somebody fund me? Sleepless nights, sleepless nights. And he was very anxious because he wanted to do something. He comes across a few lines of Thomas Carl, which awaken him in the middle of the night when he reads them. What are the lines? Our main business not to see what lies dimly at a distance. Our main business in life is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand. पूरा टाइम फ्यूचर में क्या होएगा, अरे भैया एग्जाम ही खराब कर दोगे, पहले इसके लिए तो पढ़ो. He woke up. This man was knighted by the King of England. When he died, 1,500 pages, 2 books were written about his life to explain to the people. He is behind the modern techniques at the Hopkins Medical Institute, where he showed them how medical students should work outside the class in labs. He was at the Yale University. Students are waiting for him that Sir William Osler is going to deliver a lecture. 42 years after he passed, he was iconic. So when he came on the dais, he told them, you all waiting for my lecture? You all wondering I'm Sir Osler? Let me tell you a secret. I've got the most mediocre brains. So they thought that he's just joking. I have the most average brains. My friends know that. They said, sir, are you joking? No, I'm not joking. The only reason, in spite of being average, why I'm here, why I'm successful, is because of the strategy of living in day-tight compartments. Because he had read that few lines, our main business is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand. A few months back, he correlated to his trip on the Atlantic. And because he was very popular, the captain called him on the deck and showed him, oh, sir, see, this we got the biggest liner over here, the safest liner. By the press of a button, the huge hanging of machinery, and the whole ship is, there are huge plates. It is, shut in watertight compartments, watertight compartments. So water cannot come inside. So he told the students, look, aren't we also like that big liner on this very big voyage of our life? And the only way that you could ensure that your life is safe and is happy, is fruitful, is that you learn to live in day-tight compartments. Now, what are day-tight compartments? He's saying, shut the past. Let the past bury its dead. Shut the future. The future is not born. The future is today. The load of yesterday added to of the future carried today makes the strongest falter. But there were critics. They said, sir, do you mean to say we should not plan? Of course, you should plan. You should have your plans. But you need not keep on planning the whole day. You plan. You look, go in the past, your failures and your successes, what you have learned from them. Implement in your plan. Then shut it. Then focus today. Happy the man and happy he alone. Happy the man and happy he alone. He who can call today his own. He who's secure within can say, tomorrow do their worst, for I've lived today. A poet who was born even before, thousands of years back, has written this. So today is very important. So from now, what you need to do, what according to Sir William Osler, हर एक के अपने अपने तकलीफें हैं. Everybody's got his own miseries and problems, and in spite of that, the struggle is there. So how do we try? If you want to conquer your mind, which is so powerful, first compartmentalize. Compartmentalize. From now till bedtime, the moment you put your head on the pillow and go to sleep, that's the only life I have. Tomorrow you get up in the morning again, from morning till bedtime, morning till bedtime. Then you do, your plans are there, then you implement on a daily basis. You know, when I was in the logistic industry, a compartmentalized, I used to see in a very different way. Go to Sivri, the tankers used to be there. Or 10 ton ka tanker, oil, chemicals. And can you believe it, when you got liquid, which is 10 tons, sir will know better, sir is the engineer. So when you turn, so all the liquid will come to one side. So the tanker can topple. तो उसको हम लोग ना मुंबई भाषा लॉजिस्टिक्स भाषा में बोलते हैं कि गाड़ी पे ना झोल आया, झोल पूरा लिक्विड का झोल आता है. In order to take care of that झोल, strategy is there. There are compartments inside. 1, 2, 3, 4 compartments. तो झोल नहीं आता है. देखो ना, सेफली आता है, घाट पे भी टर्न भी करता है टैंकर. तो अपन भी टैंकर ही है ना, अपनी लाइफ भी like the liner. Compartmentalize your life from now till bedtime. Bas. But then that steering wheel I told you, your mental steering wheel should be in your hand. ये इतना dangerous game है. You go to that Hakon or play that game. The moment you go, the car crashes. Our thoughts ऐसे हैं. और सचिन तेंदुलकर सब लोग नहीं बनते. I used to go to Bombay Cricket Club for an MOU when I was in the hospital there. The selectors told me he was about to retire. He comes for net practice. सुबह से शाम तक हटता ही नहीं हो. क्यों net practice? What he has to prove after millions, being the best, within a year is going to retire? No. His commitment, his focus. इसमें हटता ही नहीं हो शाम तक. You want to put a nail in the wall, you can't put it in one shot. You have to keep on hitting it. बार 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 बार. तो माइंड भी ऐसा ही वर्क करता है बार बार. From now till bedtime, now till bedtime, now till bedtime. Compartmentalize. See where suddenly you see where are you. Never fight with your thoughts. The strategy is never fight. When you're fighting with the thoughts, you're entertaining them. You're giving them importance. अपन बोलते हैं ना गलत बंदे को importance मत दो. Focus on the ones which are to your benefit in terms of abundance. If you want to reap a rich harvest of happiness, let's see some. See, this is what he says. Live life in day-tight compartments. Mind is a supercomputer. Going to my logistics days, there's one thing which always comes to my mind. I share with the students and everybody is that when I became a sales manager, they gave me a second-hand white Fiat car, non-AC. So I didn't have my license also. So the territory was Panvel, Kalumboli. पहले driving आती नहीं थी. Slowly सीख ली driving. So in this, to be the tire industry is called a devil's. So slowly when you're going everywhere, Bumrah side, this side, so I carry my lunch along with it. So in order to achieve your targets, the teams are not listening, competition is heavy, a lot of tension and desperation comes. This thing started from that time, from failures. So there was one poem, which I had got it typed, and on the white tin dashboard, I pasted it. There's another one also, but first, this is one of the important ones, which wherever I used to stop for lunch, I used to glance and have a look at it and read it. It's think. If you think you're beaten, if you think you're, if you think you not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you lose, you have lost. For out of this world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You got to try to rise. You got to be sure of yourself. If you ever want to win, don't always go to the stronger or faster man. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Positive. Jitunga. I recently did this power of belief for Rajiv Gandhi College, where I remembered something. It was online. I was in Igatpuri and there was sports, and my rival over there, बच्चे झगड़ा करते हैं. I was in Gree House. He's my friend right now. He stays in Igatpuri. Sanjay Verma. उसकी गैंग वगैरह रहती थी, झगड़े करते थे. So sports day, and we had the German missionaries over there. Parents will come. Very big event. It was like a hill where we had it's scenic Igatpuri. And sports day, and the table is laid. Same. ये याद आ गया टेबल क्लॉथ देख के. एंड सर सब कप्स लगा दिए थे ऊपर, और सब कप्स के उधर ना फर्स्ट प्राइज, सेकंड प्राइज, विच रेस. तो वी वेंट टू सी, अरे देखो प्राइज वी गोइंग टू स्टार्ट इन सम टाइम, पेरेंट्स हैड कम. तो दैट 100 मीटर रेस जो थी ना, उसका उधर कप था. तो ही लुक्ड एट मी, संजय, ही सेइंग वो मेरा है. ही डिड लाइक दैट टू मी. आई कैन नेवर फॉरगेट इट. व्हेन ही सेड नो वो मेरा है, उधर में गया. वी हैड प्रैक्टिस. रेस स्टार्ट हो रही, मेरे को ऐसा देख रहे हो, एंड समवेयर ही डिफीटेड मी देयर. वो देखते देखते वो भागा भी ऐसा ही है. आई कैन स्टिल रिमेंबर. ही इज फार अहेड. आई केम थर्ड, सेकंड भी नहीं. तो जब भी वो मेडल डालने को आया ना, तो ऊपर से लेकर सेकंड भी नहीं आ सका. तो अभी मिलते हैं, बोला तूने मेरे को उधर ही डिफीट कर दिया. दैट वो मेरा लेके जो, दैट टाइप ऑफ, दैट एटीट्यूड इज देयर. You must have seen this woman, heard of her. You go to YouTube. Iconic Shakuntala Devi ji. She's defeated the biggest computer in the world in terms of mathematical calculations, fastest mathematics. And when slowly this process of power of belief, which started years back within me for saving my own self, I was like a very nervous wreck at times. I'm speaking to you in my 7th standard when I went to say the poem in St. John the Baptist in Thana, and the whole hall was full of friends. Friends both badmash hote hain. The moment I went, Father Silvera was sitting there, faculty, and the friends are laughing, monkey. Half pants thi, 7th standard. And poetry तो by heart की थी एकदम. कितने 100 times पढ़ा रहेगा, मालूम नहीं. सामने सब कुछ ऐसा सब हेजी हो गया, पर आई वाज डिटरमिन्ड कि पोएट्री बोल के जाऊंगा. पोएट्री तो बोल दी सर, इतनी फास्ट बोली पोएट्री, कंप्लीट कर दी. देन माय लेग्स वर शिवरिंग. ओके, सो आई गॉट दैट माइक एंड माय फ्रेंड्स आर लाफिंग. टीयर्स इन माय आईज. forget. I came down और कोने में जाके बैठ गया उधर. ओ क्या रे पागल गया तो गया रोया रोया भी है रोया क्या रे. But see what I'm trying to tell you. Father Silvera, he was a very strict father. The principal. He was wearing that gown. There was a gap in the middle. He looked like that. You're sitting on the sofa set. You don't sit. You know my name, Satvinder. You went very fast, but you completed that poem. Those were his words. Don't worry. You did well. Next time you'll win. He did like that. ऐसा लगा heaven. प्रिंसिपल ने बोला वाह मरने थे दोस्त लोग हंसते तो इसने बोला. So like that again that little bit of confidence. So 8th standard I wanted to participate but डर लगता था. डिबेट लिया. डिबेट क्यों अच्छा रहता है? 2 groups 4-5 तू भी बोल मैं भी बोलता कंपनी. तो डिबेट में थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस आया. We had in 9th standard choral teacher. She was iconic. She trained me. So I got my first prize in elocution competition in 9th standard. That cup is damaged, but I still have it. So if you have a cup of your school days, उसको देखो memory आती है. पूरी memories आती है. हाँ मजा आता है. That one cup has picked me up. अरे मैं कर सकता हूँ. मैं बोल सकता हूँ. This lady years back in the Illustrated Weekly, she had an article called as Mind Dynamics. In Mind Dynamics, Shakuntala Devi ji says, everybody can be like me, better than me. In her workshop, what she says, our minds are so powerful, the subconscious, that if the scientists of the world were to make a replica of the human mind, they will require hardware the size of Maharashtra state. These are her words. Maharashtra state, the CPU. And when you start it, the heat buildup will be so much that the temperatures of the oceans will change. In other words, nobody can make the replica of a human mind. देखो कितनी बड़ी gold mine up. But we are not aware of it. We're just on the tip. We do not even realize what is our potential. I got some pictures. I got some time. Okay. Heard of her, Helen Keller? The first lady who was blind and deaf to do a graduation. दिखता भी नहीं सुनता भी. आप सोचो ना. What spirit? Where does that spirit come? By nobody taught a power of belief. She was herself a powerhouse of belief. She had an ambition to fly an aircraft and she did that, a helicopter. Helen Keller says, if we look at the sunshine, if we face towards the sunshine, we cannot see the shadows. क्या बड़ी बात है. खुद दिखता नहीं. If we look at the sunshine, we cannot see the shadows. पर हम लोग बोलते हैं ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है, क्या करना? Should have been better. If I had something better. By the time we fret and fume, time passes. She says, we all dream of some magical rose garden beyond the horizon. But forget about the roses outside our windowsill today. देख अपनी फैमिली है, घर, हेल्थ है, शुक्राना करो. That should give you that courage to go ahead. Count your blessings. A person who's handicapped is telling us, count your blessings. We never count our blessings. But then when we think, when we entertain, going back to that core, that magic selectivity of your thoughts. Petrol pump पे petrol भरते थे. Somebody asked him, क्या करना चाहते हो? Entrepreneurs. Petrol pump पे I still go to Godrej petrol pump sometimes. So कभी-कभी वो अभी तक है 20 साल के बाद में भी बुढ़ा हो गया कभी देखते हैं. उधर ही है अटेंडेंट 15 साल के बाद में. पेट्रोल पंप पे जो अटेंडेंट है एट द मोस्ट ख्वाहिश रहेगी यार एक पेट्रोल पंप मेरा हो जाए. एक पेट्रोल पंप होता है ना तो जमीन पे पैर नहीं रहते. नहीं. I want to make petrol. People thought craziness. One of the biggest trees, Jamnagar, size of Mumbai city. He told his family and told us, big. हम सोचने को भी डरते हैं. सोचने को भी डरते हैं. डर लगता है. क्यों डरते हैं? When डर आता है ना, that fear आता है, fear goes in the subconscious. That puts obstacles over there. He's iconic. I remember cutting his picture from Times of India years back, and I used to have it in a book in the Times of India. Tom Whittaker. Tom Whittaker. Hello, sir. Tom Whittaker is a mammoth personality. देखने को भी very handsome, and he had this love for adventure, hiking, rafting. He had his group, like how we go for hiking, rafting. But unfortunately, I told you, sometimes destiny may turn. He was driving home late and a drunk came in front of his car. In order to save the drunk, he crashed into a tree. They got him to the hospital. He was in coma, semi-coma, but his right leg was crushed below the knee, mutilated. So doctors, friends came over there, family came over there. They were crying. They said, we have to amputate his leg. An amputation case of a young boy. Hysterical for 1 month. The nursing department could not control him. The loss of a limb, we do not value this. They cut his limb. They took that approval. When he was coming back to consciousness, the doctor said to the friends, you can beat him. But who will have the guts to go and tell Tom that he lost a leg? So they surrounded him. So he was in consciousness. Tu bata, everybody. Somebody said, Tom, there's some sad news. In that accident, you lost your leg. And they were planning to go for a rafting adventure in a week's time. He kept quiet. This is what is written in the article. He kept quiet. He's saying, oh, because you can't feel that. The person who loses a limb, because what the doctors used to say, there's something called the ghost limb. So there is, it tricks the mind. The person feels for a month or so that he still has that limb. So he's saying, after some time, he said, that means, guys, I won't be able to come with you all next. Hopefully, I will join you all next time. Hopefully, next time. Kya baat hai? See that guy's spirit. He goes on to conquer Mount Everest on his second attempt. On the first attempt, when he went there, on the last zone, that is called as the death zone, because a lot of, storms are there, deadly storms, frost bites. So he had to come back. The second time when somebody had already been on the Mount Everest came and told him, Tom, last time I went there, I got this pebble. I'm sure you'll go there, keep it on top. Second attempt, he reached the summit. He reached the peak. He put the pebble on his flag. The Sherpas call him the emperor of the handicapped. When the media came him and they said, sir, how did you manage to do it? He got an artificial leg, the Jaipur artificial leg. How could you manage to do it? You know what he said? I didn't do it. Day in, day out, I had only one vision. I am on top of Everest with that flag. So whatever he was thinking consciously went to the subconscious, and the subconscious made things and ways to see to it that he reaches Everest peak. So we are proud to see someone from our country also. You got Arunima Sinha. Unfortunately, I think in 2011 when she had fallen out of a train and lost her leg. Her leg was badly crushed by a passing train. When there were some bandits in the train, they pushed her out. She was an athlete. She's an athlete herself. If you remember, she had come on KBC with Amitabh Bachchan. And today, she's not only scaled Mount Everest, she set a mission for herself. She's got an artificial leg. And after the accident, her backbone was fractured at many places. Can you believe it? हमें थोड़ा सा pain होता है. She got in a backbone. She climbed the tallest peaks in Tanzania, in Antarctica, in South America, in Russia. She scaled everything. Okay. कैसा करते ना, गिरते हैं जो करते घोड़सवार, गिरते हैं जो करते घोड़सवार, वो क्या गिरे जो घुटनों के बल चले. तो you should have your spirit that गिरेंगे, गिर गिर के उठेंगे. And that is a must, an important ingredient if you want to be a good entrepreneur or a good manager. If you're working for a company also, or in your career also, wherever. So that spirit is very important. But then, if people who are handicapped can do it, somebody has said it very well. Somewhere you have to accept it. That acceptance part as God, you connect with God. Your best friend is the Almighty. We all pray. He's there when you connect for the positive channel. You know, one of have mentioned that God grant me the serenity. ये पैर नहीं है, हाथ नहीं है, आंख नहीं है. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Grant me the courage to change the things I can. And the wisdom to know the difference. उसका difference भी है ना क्या? So if you cannot change it, we accept it. But we never give up over there. Heard of Philip Pettit? I should be winding up. Just last. Any questions? 5 minutes. Guys, you want to ask or discuss something? Anything on your mind?
Before presenting the vote of thanks, I would like to ask if anyone has any questions for Sir. Anyone? So actually, I have a question for you.
Very good.
So, what do you think about, as belief is a powerful word, right? So, what do you think which limits us, that part of that we are not confident enough to believe in ourselves? What is the thing which make us limited?
See, good question she asked.
Thank you.
See, there's a difference between animals and beings. And the Almighty God has given human beings one power. That's why power of belief. The power to think what we want to think. We can choose our thoughts. So that's why today's main thing is that you take hold of yourself. Pakado, your steering wheel. Why we are not been able to do? Because the steering wheel is not there. Jidhar bhi we going here and there. Catch it. I can do it. Persist.
So I guess the persistence is the key.
बोलते हैं ना, लास्ट में बोलूंगा, मंजिल से आगे बढ़कर मंजिल तलाश कर, मिल जाए अगर